Well, hello there. This is Craig Hane, and I want to tell you about mathematics, math, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, math is like a language. It's like a universal language, and you can communicate and do things and solve problems with it that you can't do with ordinary natural language. Now, just imagine you try to live your life without any language at all. It'd be very difficult, if not impossible. Math can improve your life tremendously if you learn the language. Now, math is a huge subject. It's a huge subject. No one person knows all the math there is. I know a lot of math, but there's a lot of math I don't know. It turns out that if you know the math that you need to know, then that can cause you to improve your life dramatically in many different ways. That's the good part of math. Math, if you learn the math you need to know to do the things you want to do in life, whether they're a career path, a job, a hobby, or just something to play with and to analyze life, is good. The problem is the bad. Now, what is the bad? As I told you earlier, math is a huge subject. And if you start trying to learn the math that you will not be able to use to improve your life, you can get into some math that is very difficult to learn and has no applications for you, no interest for you, and you get very discouraged. And that can happen. In fact, that does happen to most people. That's the bad. What's the ugly? Well, the ugly is the fact that if you're exposed to the bad math, the math that you'll never use and that you don't care about and is difficult to learn, then you don't learn any math. And you don't learn the math you need to improve your life. That's the ugly. So good, bad, and ugly. Now, the good news is today, and that's what this video is about, is to tell you how you can get to good math and avoid the bad and thus avoid the ugly. And this can apply to virtually anyone. You don't have to be a genius or a math whiz. Virtually anyone that doesn't have some serious learning disability can learn the math that they need to have a most wonderful possible life, given the math they need to know to do the things they want to do. That's the good news. Now, you may say, well, how can I learn about this and what can I do? Well, I have a lot of good news for you. First of all, I've written a book and I'm going to show you how to get a free PDF copy. You can go buy it on Amazon, called Golden Rule Math for All God's Children. Now, in this book, I explain the math that you need to learn, that any given student needs to learn, depends on the student's interest in life. And that's all explained in here. And you can learn that in probably less than an hour reading certain parts of this book. And I'm going to show you in a moment how you can get a free PDF copy of it. Now, this is the good. This is to tell you what is the good math you want to learn. What about the bad? Well, I wrote another book called How and Why Public School Math is Destroying the USA. And this is all about the bad math, the math that probably you're a victim of. 90% of the people in the United States have been a victim of the bad math, and thus the ugly. They don't learn the math they need. They don't know math. They don't like math, and they can't use math as the language they need to do what they need to do. You can also get this book on Amazon, and I'm going to show you how to get a free PDF copy of it. Now, again, you can learn what you need to know about what's bad about math in this book probably in an hour. There's 4 chapters, 19, 20, 21, and 22 that will tell you that. Now, in this book, I also explain my story so you can understand it. I was very fortunate. When I was a young student up through the 8th grade, I went to public school, but I had a wonderful homeschool teacher, my Uncle Jack Davis, who was a barber and a builder, and he knew practical math. He was not a math teacher. So he taught me up through the 8th grade a lot of practical math that you needed to build things. In fact, he started out, the very first thing he taught me was just how to count in the decimal number system using Cheerios when I was 5 years old. And I was able to count to 100 before any of my classmates, even though I was the youngest kid in the first grade back then. Then, as you'll tell, and I tell the story in this book, in the ninth grade, I had a subject called algebra, and I was going to a high school in Greencastle, Indiana, and I took algebra, and I did not like it. I didn't really see the value of it. I didn't understand it very well, and I didn't get a good grade. For the first time, I'd gone from being successful at math, thanks to my Uncle Jack, to being a failure in math. And I was told by my counselor and my principal at Greencastle High School, Craig, you did bad in algebra. You're never going to go to college. You are not college material. No one in your family is ever going to college. You're not going to go to college. I was very depressed that summer. My sophomore year, I got blessed again. I had a great geometry teacher, Miss Madonna O'Hare, and she taught me geometry in a way that I could understand it and see the value of it and enjoy it. And for me, it was easy. It's like a sport. I think of math as a sport. If you get a good coach and you learn it properly, you learn the things you need to know, you can do well in the sport. Well, I love geometry, did well in it. In fact, I was the top of my class in geometry. Then in my junior year, I had algebra again with the old algebra teacher. I didn't like it. I didn't do real well in it. But now I was a troublemaker. I kept asking him questions he couldn't answer, and he didn't like me. So now what am I going to do? I'm a junior now. I'm still being told I'm not going to go to college because I don't good at an algebra. If you don't do good in algebra, you can't go to college. Miss O'Hare in Greencastle, Indiana, there's a college called DePauw, DEPAUW University. It's a coeducational college, very well thought of in Indiana. And Miss O'Hare, my geometry teacher, Craig, your senior year, go to DePauw as a special student and take college algebra and see how you do. She knew that the high school algebra teacher was not a good teacher. He was teaching me bad math. So I went to DePauw as a special student over the objections of my principal, and I was blessed again. I got a great teacher, Dr. Clint Gass, chairman of the mathematics department at DePauw. They put me in sophomore college algebra. And once again, he was a great teacher, taught me what I needed to know, why it was valuable, how it would be of use to me, how I could apply it to geometry, for example. And I got an A. I did well. My high school principal couldn't believe it. He said, my golly, you did bad in algebra in high school and now you got an A and in college algebra? How is that? And I said, it all has to do with the teacher and what I'm taught and the way I'm taught. The second semester, I took trigonometry at DePauw as a special student, even though they were teaching it at Greencastle High School. And once again, I learned trigonometry 100 times better than the students in the high school did. I tell a big, long story about that in this book. So I had three great teachers up through high school. Uncle Jack Davis, Miss O'Hare, Dr. Gaff. If it had not have been for any one of them, you'd have never heard of me. I wouldn't be making this video because I would have failed at math. My brother, who's younger than me and just as smart as I am, in fact, we look a lot alike. People think we're twins. He didn't have those good teachers, and he didn't go to college. He went right out of high school into the workforce. Now he's had a pretty good life, and he's very bright. He's as bright as I am, but he couldn't do the things I was able to do. In fact, I helped him do things that he couldn't have done otherwise because I could apply the math and help him do things. He's had a pretty good life, but nothing like what I've had. Now, I'm not going to, in this video, tell you about my life, but it's been an unbelievable life. It's been fantastic. I've just done so many things because of math. Now, when I say because of math, I went ahead, by the way, went to Oberlin College, majored in math and English, taught high school for a year in Ohio on a one-year permit, taught all 4 grades. And that's when I realized the real problem with math. Why the bad? The textbooks had stuff in them that shouldn't be in them. A lot of old manual tools, hard to learn, a lot of theory that you can't use. And so I came back. I'm 22 years old now. And Dr. Gass, I've always talked to him when I go home. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. He said, why don't you teach at DePauw second semester while I go on sabbatical? And first semester, why don't you go to IU to graduate school in math? See why you like it. I went to grad school in math. I really liked it. Taught at DePauw for a semester, 22 years old. The high school principal couldn't believe it. I went from doing bad in high school algebra to teach actually the most advanced math I had at DePaul, because I learned math at Oberlin that DePaul didn't have. Went ahead and went to grad school for 4 years. They gave me a PhD. I became a professor at Indiana State University, which is a teacher's college, then Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology and Engineering School for 7 years total. Then I started applying math to business. Now, what I also explain in both of these books, and in particular this one, well, in both of them, I explain now today how any student today, can get a great math education the way I did, because I will become the teacher. I'll do for you what my Uncle Jack and Miss O'Hare and Dr. Gass did for me, all online. Now, in order to learn about that, I'm going to share the screen and show you where you can go to learn about it. You simply go to a website we've got called TMA Cool, TMA.cool. TMA stands for the Triad Math Army. You go there, and I'll ask you some questions. Do you want to improve your life? Help others improve their life? Are you the parent of children, especially grades 7 through 12? Would you like to help any of the people that answered yes to number 1 and 2? Would you like to earn some money doing it? And by the way, just giving them free gifts, not selling anything. You're not going to be a salesman. And then, would you like to improve your credit score? And indeed, would you like to get some very valuable free gifts? And in fact, if you go on down on this web page, what you'll find out at the bottom of this web page, I get to go down. There's some videos that talk about it. You can learn a lot about it here. But if you go on down here, sign up for a free newsletter, and I will give you the free PDFs of those 2 books I just told you about. So you can improve your life. Now, I'm going to say, if you spend 2 or 3 hours reading these books, studying this website, and then there's other websites I'll be sending you to, you will be able to give yourself or anyone you know that you love, any student of yours, an ideal math education. And here's the amazing thing. I've done it for hundreds and hundreds of people now. It's an online program. It's online, all automated. It's me as a teacher, a tutor, except it's videos, short videos, and you control the videos, and you can have them accessed 24/7 because they come from Amazon Web Services. They also come with notes and exercises you can print out from PDFs, or you can buy copies of them from Amazon very inexpensively. Now, I'll just tell you this in a nutshell, and you'll learn a lot more. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to learn how to use a scientific calculator, the $10 30XA, to do practical math. Then you're going to learn practical math, algebra, geometry, and trigonometry, all 3 of those subjects in 1 semester. And when you do that, you're ready for the military, for tech school, to go out and go to any company and enter into a technical training program. I've had lots and lots of students do this. Now, it goes way beyond that. If you want to go to college, I got some math to get you ready for the SAT and the ACT. And then if it happens, you might want to go into science and engineering. I've got tremendous training beyond that, using a modern tool that makes those subjects much more easy to learn and to apply. It's called Wolfram Alpha. And you learn all about that at these websites. So that's math, good, bad, and ugly. You need, for yourself and any students you know, you need to give them the good and avoid the bad and the ugly. And if you do the good using my program, and by the way, it's very inexpensive. I had someone the other day I was talking to, and I told them what they could get out of it. I said, what do you think that's worth? They said, if we had to hire tutors to do this for us, it'd be hundreds of dollars a week or a month. I said, well, what do you think you should pay for this? Well, if we could get it for $100 a week, that'd be great. Or $100 a month. I says, how about $9? He said, you mean a day? No. A week? No, a month. You're going to be able to get a great math program for 1 student for $9 a month. Okay? Now, if that doesn't motivate you, and I will tell you right now, I will bet you $1,000 you can't find a program that's near as good as this one for anywhere near that price. Can't be done. It's all because of modern technology. I'm able to do for you what those 3 great teachers did for me because of the technology. I couldn't have done this in the 20th century. I probably couldn't even have done it 10 years ago. We're using tools today that are new and modern, and it's wonderful. So this is Craig Hane or Dr. Dell. And by the way, when you go back to that website, tma.cool, at the bottom is my information, my personal website. You can learn all about me. And in fact, get a lot of free things there too. And then I will hopefully see you in a math program going forward so you can have a wonderful life so far as the mathematics can enable you to do so. Okay? Craig Hane, Dr. Dell, thanks for watching. And I will see you maybe, hopefully, on some other videos. Have a great life.